Taken Trilogy.
What's going on, everybody? Today we're going over the Taken Trilogy to finish off this freaking Neeson, and get it over with. I'm going to talk about all three of them. I did a double movie review last week. I'm doing a triple movie review this week. I'm not going to do like a traditional movie review for these. I'm just going to go into depth about little things in these movies that I liked and didn't like. I'm not going to talk about them from a very critical standpoint. I'm just going to have some fun and talk about all the little dumb things that are in the second and third one especially. So let's just get into it. One at a time, alright? I'm not going to spend too much time. This is 3 movie reviews. I'm not going to talk for an hour about these films. Just a few minutes. Let's just quickly get this over with. Let's talk about it. Taken 1, the one that has been parodied so much. Family Guy parodied it, like beat for beat. So many like skits and things, like people caught, like the biggest famous scene, the phone call scene where he's like, I got a particular set of skills, I will find you and then I will kill you. Lots of classic moments from this movie. Let's get into it. Alright, so what are the little things I like about Taken 1? Well, it's original. I like that. I like that Liam Neeson's not a fucking former cop once again. He has a mysterious background, you know, and we don't know what exactly he does, but they kind of set him up to be this badass at the beginning because he's like protecting this Miley Cyrus version in this universe. I don't know who this woman is. They could have hired a real celebrity, but they didn't. But he's like a bodyguard, and it sets him up to be like this badass, so it makes sense why he's able to do shit later on. I like that his daughter, Kim, played by Maggie Grace, I think, or somebody, I don't know. I think it's Maggie Grace. She's hot, so I can see why he wants to save her. I'd save her. She's pretty hot. The actress that plays the ex-wife in this movie is the same ex-wife in House of Haunted Hill. Great 1999 remake. Check that out. I did a review for it. Leave a link right here or right there. And like I was alluding to earlier, the phone call scene, I really like it. Just imagining putting yourself in that situation. You're on the phone with your daughter as she's being taken. But Liam Neeson, he's so badass. He just takes it calm. He gets his phone like recording device out. Just knows what to do even in a terrible situation. He's just on it. And the scene just shows how much confidence he has in himself. The fact that he's just like, I'm going to find you and I will kill you within the next couple days. I'm gonna get you. There's quite a few good scenes of action in this movie. It's a PG-13 movie, so there's not gonna be any blood in any of these movies. They're all PG-13. That's a negative for all three, so get it out. Get it over with right now. That's my negative. They're all fucking PG-13. People getting blasted away. No blood. We don't have blood no more because it's PG-13. Bullshit. Tourist Trap, the horror movie I just reviewed, was PG. Came out in '79. There's blood in that movie. Way more than this one. This movie has a different director than the next 2 installments, which are the next 2 are directed by Oliver Megaton. I don't know how Megatron. I don't know. But this one's Pierre, some French dude, I don't know. But this one's directed better than the next 2 when it comes to like recording like action. And this one has a little bit more action than the next 2. So this one's the best one, definitely, of the bunch. You get a torture scene in this movie. He electrocutes this guy, and he just turns it on full blast, leaves the room, gets what the information he needs, turns this little guy who thought he was a badass into a pussy, starts crying like a little baby. Love that shit. That's what we need in these action movies. Then we get the third act where he's in the boat and he takes quite a few more guys out, like in something that we saw in the Family Guy parody. If you've seen the Family Guy parody, you've basically seen this movie. But like that, the fat guy who's like, you know, taking Liam's daughter as a sex slave, he's like, we can negotiate. Negotiate what? You have what he wants. He has nothing that you want except your life in his hands. And he's got the fattest head ever, and he's doing that cliche movie moment thing where he's like hiding behind a girl with like a big ass knife to her throat. It's like he can clearly shoot you right in your fat fucking face, and that's exactly what he does. And then we get the touching ending at the end where the daughter, she gets to meet that Miley Cyrus chick from the beginning and get singing lessons. And yeah, just puts a nice little end to the movie, leaves you feeling good. Great revenge, great action movie. But what do I not like about this movie? Okay, well, just little things. I'm gonna point stupid shit out because that's what I like to do. At first, it's kind of hard to like this girl who's getting kidnapped, Kim. She's that cliche rich California girl with the rich ass parents. She's getting like a pony or a giant horse for her 17th birthday. She's a spoiled brat, and she asks her dad if she can go to Paris. She's lying to him. We find that out. And when he says no, she starts like crying like a little baby and storms out of the restaurant. Seems like something an 8-year-old would do, so it's hard to like her at the beginning. Liam Neeson, he's protecting the singer at the beginning of the movie, like the Miley Cyrus chick who Miley Cyrus ripped off. And when she's walking backstage with Liam Neeson, there's just a guy sitting back there with a knife prepared to stab her. Are her lyrics that controversial that there's a guy waiting to stab her at any moment? It just felt like something so freaking intense and hyperbolic that would Is that really what's going on in the entertainment world? That people are just constantly getting threats by people, they're gonna get stabbed? If that's really how it is, I wouldn't want to be a singer. Alright? This movie definitely doesn't make you want to be famous. Lenore is the worst mother in movie history, and she's a bitch. She's totally fine with her daughter going place to place and place in a foreign country, multiple foreign countries, with just this slutty, dumb, blonde 19-year-old girl. I don't know if she was aware that they were going to be alone, if there's going to be other parents involved, but she's still stupid. And then when Liam Neeson caves in, he signs the consent form to send her off. Lenore is still unsatisfied. Typical bitch. She's like, you could have signed it yesterday. Well, fuck off. I didn't have to sign it at all. Never satisfied, and she's a liar and a terrible mother. And when your daughter is kidnapped 3 movies in a row, you know you're a terrible parent. Kidnap my daughter once, shame on you. Kidnap my daughter twice? Shame on me. I feel like a lot of the knowledge that Liam Neeson has is just so, like, convenient. Like, he just knows everything. And in this movie, he's basically a doctor. He has just an IV stand waiting in case he needs it. Really? He has IV knowledge and how to plug it in. It has a little IV bag and everything. It's like, no. Get the fuck out of here. That's another thing with all 3 of these movies, is that there's conveniences that line up for Liam Neeson to get the job done. Like, the auction is right near the boat at the end of this movie. Really? And he just manages to chase down his car on foot for a few blocks. Oh, there's the destination. Thank God it was close by. But I like this movie, so therefore when it comes to Taken, this is the one of the trilogy that I recommend you go out and buy. Now let's move on to Taken 2. Literally, like, shit. Let me tell you the little things I do like about this movie, because this is going to be quick. What do I like? Well, I like that the daughter has to be saved. That has to save the parents. She's saving the mom and dad in, like, the middle of the movie. And then in the second half, Liam Neeson's doing the same shit. He's saving the wife this time. But I like that they kind of flip it here, so that's different. You know, because you would expect that from a sequel. They kind of just change things up, so yeah, I like it. It's alright. And I like that there's continuity with the cast. Even the small roles are being reprised, so all the same faces from the first movie are coming in, small or big. They're there. And we get little things that happen in the first movie. In this movie, Liam Neeson, he's hiding underneath dead bodies. Very smart. It doesn't happen enough in these movies. It needs to happen more often. It's the smartest thing to do. If you're in a big, bad situation, there's people coming, just hide underneath one of the dead bodies and shoot at them. Smart. Now my negatives. Okay, the action in this one, Oliver, Megatron, whatever you want to call him, not a good action director. Very choppy. The characteristics of Liam Neeson have changed. We've added some more things to him. He's very OCD. He's checking his watch. He's going to places like it has to be 2 o'clock on the dot before I can open my car door. Really? Is that OCD? I don't think exists. Does it? Lenny, Liam Neeson's wife, is still a bitch. Ungrateful. At the end of the first movie, all she does is say thanks, but very quietly. In this movie, she should be blowing him because of what he did for her and their family. But she's still lying, she's still ungrateful, and I still hate her. She's spoiled. She's very spoiled. She's a gold digger. That guy in the first movie, still married to him, but now they're like having troubles. And this movie takes place like within like a few months after the first movie, because there's a funeral going on for these bad guys that Liam Neeson killed. And now that's the new motive for these bad guys, which is another thing I hate for this movie. The bad guy in this movie is this group that are associated with the group that got killed in the first one, and they want revenge. Well, it's not revenge because you drew first blood. Your fucking son, admit it, just accept it, was a shitbag. Move on with your life. Alright, it's not Liam's fault, it's your son's fault, and your fault because you raised him. Am I supposed to believe that after everything she just went through, almost becoming a sex slave and fucked 6 different ways from Sunday from a fat piece of shit Jabba the Hutt, that she's just going to immediately dive into a relationship in America that quick? She would be traumatized and like never want to like look at a guy again. But she's just in this relationship and she says she's been in it for a few months. So when exactly is this movie taking place after the first one? Does she already have that boyfriend? If so, why was he never mentioned before? Oh, because she's lying to her dad still. Show him some goddamn respect. Just a little thing I picked up on this movie. Liam Neeson is one of those people who gives excuses for people not picking up their phone in the voice message. One of those people that goes, oh, you didn't pick up the phone. I guess you're just out blowing midgets. Call me when you get this. It's such a weird thing that people do. Why do you just say random excuses? You don't know what's going on the other end. Just fucking say, oh, you didn't pick up the phone. Okay, call me back. That's it. In this movie, Liam Neeson is a walking, talking Istanbul map. He just knows everything. He knows every layout, every street, every little fucking characteristic of every street corner. Even though he's only been there for, what, a few days on this job of his? There's a cliche movie moment, and I'm going to be saying that a lot, because this trilogy has all the cliches in it. There's a moment when Liam Neeson, two cars smash into him, the bad guys, front and back, and they don't immediately just get out of their car. They somehow allow just a 2-second window for Liam Neeson to disappear like Houdini. It's in a lot of movies and it's annoying. Where the fuck could he have gone that quick? And then there's a moment where he's having this standoff with two different guys and they just allow him to have a fucking 3-minute phone conversation with his daughter, basically allowing her to help him out later on. Like, do this, I need you to do this. It's like, why don't they just shoot his ass, shoot him in the kneecap, shoot the phone out of his hand? Why are they allowing him this fucking phone conversation? It doesn't make sense. It's not like he's in prison and he gets one phone call. This is a fucking standoff. The beginning of this movie establishes that the daughter Kim is taking driving lessons still. She's not good. She failed her test twice. She doesn't really exactly say why. She goes, maybe I don't want a license. Like, she purposely failed, but it doesn't really go further than that. So I just think she sucked at driving. But she's 17. She should already have her license, but she doesn't. But then by the end of the movie, she's in this car chase, driving a stick shift car. I can't even drive sticks yet. 23, I still can't drive stick. But she's in this major car chase in a country she's not familiar with, roads she's not familiar with, and she's doing pretty great. And no matter how many times she's crashing, she's sliding the left side of her car into this car. She's sliding the right side of the car into this car. And then by the end of the chase sequence, the car is perfectly fine. There's not a scratch or dent. Bullshit. And then they drive to the embassy and Liam Neeson tells her to floor it and just basically crash into the embassy. Why? You just lost your tail. Like, there's no bad guys following them anymore. And they just crash into this embassy. Just LMG machine guns firing at them. You're putting your daughter's life at risk. For what reason? You could have just pulled up. You're clearly Americans. Do you not have your passport on you? That scene made no sense. And then when they crash, after just being shot at by like a dozen guys, they then have time somehow for like another 3 to 5 minute conversation on the phone, talking to each other without somebody running up to the car immediately like they would in real life and saying, get the fuck out of the car, you crazy bastards. You just charged at a U.S. embassy. Get out with your hands held high. And then there's a moment in this movie where these two bad guys, they shoot at a wall because they think Liam's on the other side. He is. But they just spray like 100 holes in the wall. And then one of the bad guys walks up to the holes to look through it. And then Liam Neeson points the gun up, shoots the guy right in the face as if he knew which hole out of 100 that this guy was walking up to. Bullshit. And I fucking hate this moment. And it's in a lot of movies where they turn a corner, the main protagonist and like a henchman or just a bad guy, they point their guns at each other and they're like face to face, like hands over hand, pointing at each other, just like walking in circles. I hate it. It's stupid. It would never go down like that in real life. As soon as you see the person, you quickly, within a millisecond, identify that person as the person you want to fucking kill and you pull the trigger. That's how it would go down in real life. But in these movies, they always go, I'm going to point the gun at you. And then at some point, they both pull the trigger, but it's too late because they fucking like dodge and they shoot past each other. It's in every action movie, almost the shitty ones like this one, and I hate it. They would just pull the trigger immediately. I stopped doing it. And that happens twice in this movie. Oh, and then like Liam Neeson, this 6'4" towering figure who's been kicking ass all movie, somehow is having a hard time fighting this 5'7" overweight Albanian. Get the fuck out of here. And I like how he breaks his neck by basically pushing his head to the right. Breaks his neck, just like, and his head didn't even like go that fast. Just like, oh, you killed me. And then we have another cliche moment where Liam Neeson, he puts the gun down, testing the bad guy to see if he'll pick it up and shoot him in the back when he's walking away. Oh, the gun's empty. You failed the test, dipshit. And then this movie sets up a sequel that we didn't get, but we got some. We did get a sequel, but this one sets it up like there's going to be more family members of this group that's going to hunt Liam Neeson in the next one. But that's not the next movie. And what's the status on Kim's singing? She took lessons, didn't she, from like Miley Cyrus at the end of the first one? And now she's just, it doesn't even mention her singing at all. What the fuck? So yeah, overall, I was not a big fan of this one. I mean, you got the daughter throwing grenades off of rooftops. bullshit how she was able to find them. Convenience. This one is a major just guilty pleasure. Turn off your brain and you might enjoy it. So when it comes to Taken 2, maybe just rent this at Redbox. Alright, now let's go on to Taken 3. The one in 2015-13 with Forrest Whitaker. And this is the one where Liam Neeson goes through a lot of shit. Literally, he goes through the sewer. The things I like about this movie is that the plot of this movie, you know, the little twist that we get, is actually, it was hinted at in the first one. When you marathon these movies, you pick up on it. But if you saw these movies when they came out, like every 2-3 years, you wouldn't have known it. But in the first movie, Liam Neeson says to Stuart that, you know, you got people that are probably your enemies, right, in Paris? You got any enemies in Paris? Because I know you got enemies in Russia with these deals and blah blah blah, and that comes into this movie. That comes into play here. This movie is 2 years later, and Kim has a much better boyfriend. The boyfriend she had in the first movie, the second one, looked like a total douchebag. This guy actually looks alright, so she had a step up. Lenore, the wife, Lenny, she's falling in love with Liam Neeson in this one, and her and Stuart are still having troubles. She's still a spoiled brat, but whatever, you know. But I think it makes sense now that she's finally falling in love with her ex-husband, because he did save your ass and your daughter's ass twice. We get Todd from Final Destination. He plays a very small role in this movie. He's a cop in one of the cars that Liam Neeson hijacks. Very small, but you can also say he's Detective Gibson from Saw 7. I hate him in that fucking movie. And I like that we get a few little just throwbacks to the first two movies. Like, this movie ends where the second one ends, at the little ice cream shop. And we get that moment where Liam Neeson's hiding underneath a body. Once again, in this movie, he does it again. That's like his trademark. And then he says good luck to Forrest Whitaker on the phone, which is exactly what was said to him by the kidnapper in the first movie. So he's throwing that line back at someone else. And those are all my positives. Alright, this is the same fucking movie, just worse. This movie has like no action until like the last 15 minutes. And it's not good at all. Got the same director, still choppy, not creative at all. Just an investigation that's going on with Forrest Whitaker. And even though he basically knows that Liam couldn't have done it, he's still fucking chasing him down. It's annoying. He's solving this mystery that we already solved. Alright, Liam Neeson's not the killer. Alright, in this movie, in case you don't know what it's about, Liam Neeson gets framed for the murder of his wife. There's a positive. That spoiled bitch Lenore is dead. Not only is she a liar, but she's a cheater now because she's kissing Liam Neeson and she's still technically married to that asshole Stuart. So she's a liar, she's a cheater, she's spoiled, and she's a terrible mother. And now she's dead. That's what you get. But yeah, Liam Neeson, he gets framed for the murder of his wife, and now he's on his wild chase and find out who did it, who's responsible. This movie ruins the continuity. It hires a new actor to play Stuart, who looks 10-15 years younger than the other guy in the first movie, and it's the same guy who is the bad guy in Mission Impossible 2. Now, was the revelation that Stuart was responsible for the death of Lorena, whatever, Lenny, was that supposed to be a twist, like shocking? Because it didn't shock me. It seems pretty obvious. Even at the beginning, you can hear his voice on the phone, that the bad guy, Malkovich, or whatever the hell his name is, the Russian bad guy, you can hear Stuart's voice on the phone. So it's kind of like, if you pay attention to detail, you can pick up on it pretty quick that he's the bad guy, he's responsible. It's just so obvious up front, alright? And then when Liam Neeson, he escapes the cops, he just goes in his random garage, and he has like a secret like tunnel into the sewers underneath this complete stranger's garage, and that the owners of this place don't know about it. And when the cops get to that garage, they don't immediately look underneath the truck ever. You gotta get Forrest Whitaker to come in there to look underneath it for you. And then there's a highway scene where like this, you know, the cliche moment. I'll say it, yeah, cliche. The semi truck, it like starts like, you know, it like the spins real quick. So then like the trailer like flies off, and tons of cars are being smashed. Lots of civilians had to be killed in that scene. Now Liam Neeson has to be responsible. It's because of him. I mean, he decided to take the wheel of the cop car at that moment and cause all this. And then at the end of the movie, he's not arrested for anything. It's like, oh, we understood everything you were doing. You're just trying to solve the murder because you know that we were too incompetent to solve it for you. But he still technically caused some damage. And there's no way no one died on that highway scene. I thought it was kind of funny that Kim asked this Asian girl next to her in class to take notes for her. Racist. You didn't ask the kid next to you. You just like, oh, she's smart. racist. We got the movie cliche of a car blowing up a few seconds after it rolls off a cliff. Just like it's just sitting there all normal and it's like... And since this movie is PG-13, the Russian translation of the word bitch is translated into scumbag. Maybe it could mean that, but to me, suka means bitch. Alright, I know my Russian. Don't fucking fool me, translations. You think I won't catch you in your lies? I caught you. Red-handed. And then there's another cliche. We got the Russian bad guys. Bad guys are always Russian in these action movies. It's always the Russians, or just, I don't know, mainly it's Russians. Or Germans. It used to be Germans, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then it was the Russians. I can see why, because when Russians speak, it always sounds evil. You know, German's very loud, and, you know, it just sounds crazy. And Russian, it's very dark, and, you know, everything they say just sounds evil. You know, no matter what they say, it sounds evil with their accent. So yeah, I guess it makes sense. There's a flashback to the main Russian bad guy named Oleg, and we're getting this quick backstory about him, because we gotta know who this guy is, who we only see for like 3 minutes in this movie. And they say, Oleg, you know, his background, he goes all the way back to when Russia invaded Afghanistan. I believe that's what they said. Pretty sure. And if you know history, Russia invaded Afghanistan in 1979. And they were in there for at least a decade. So this guy who looks like he's 40-something hasn't aged a day ever since that day. Because in the flashback, he looks the same that he looks present day 2013 when this movie came out. Or 15, whatever. Kim is pregnant at the beginning of this movie. She takes the pregnancy test, and it gets revealed to Liam towards the end of the movie. And then that's how the movie ends. They're like, what should we name it? And I'm just sitting here thinking, why is this even necessary? Like, why is this in here? It plays no significant role to the story, plot, nothing. It's just like, here's another touching thing we can throw in here. It's stupid. Her being pregnant does nothing for the story at all. And then this movie almost tries to set up a sequel to, like, because the Stewart, he doesn't kill him. He's like, you're gonna go to prison, but you're so rich you might get out in a few years, and I'll be waiting for you. That was in another movie. I can't think of it. Homefront with Jason Statham. Same ending right there in this movie, except Homefront's 1,000 times better. One of my favorite Statham movies. But this movie sets up a sequel, and we're never gonna get it. So yeah. But overall, I gotta say, when it comes to Taken 3, this movie is just wasted time. Alright! Finished it. We're done with the Liam Neeson movies and the trilogy. 3 movie reviews in one. I'm probably never going to do this again. But what's your favorite Taken of the 3? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this. And as always, you can click this like button over here to support this video. And if you haven't subscribed and you wish to do so, you can simply do so just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah.